Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Tina. I'm an analytical thinker from the linear world who is 5 years into my journey of self-awakening. I'm here to share with you a few tools which have served me well as I ventured down this path of self-discovery. Real quickly, this video is number 9 of 14 already. I posted my very first video about almost 2 months ago now as an introduction as to why I would begin a video series or a YouTube channel at the age of 50. If you'd like to hear some of those details, feel free to click on the introductory video and you'll get that information. But quite simply, the series of 14 videos is being made to assist people like me coming from a more linear mindset, step on or further down this path of self-awakening. And so with that, I release these videos every Thursday and I try to keep them to about 15 minutes, give or take. In today's video, we are going to actually discuss self-care. Self-care is the 8th chapter of the book that I've been writing. That goes by the same title as these videos, which is The Spiritual Awakening of an Analytical Mind. As always, future videos will mirror the chapters of that book. As I've mentioned in the past videos, I was guided to write this book beginning about 2.5 years ago. And then more recently, as this book is coming together, I was guided that I needed to begin these videos to even get small nuggets of information out to people that may find it of use, and so therefore the YouTube channel was born. Okay, so self-care today. Self-care is one of those topics or stepping stones, as I refer to them. There's really going to be defined by each and every one of us. It's as unique, our practice will be as unique as we are, as our journey is. And truly, pieces of self-care are found throughout this book in all different chapters. For the purpose of this chapter in self-care, we can look at self-care as what brings us comfort and joy for our mind, body, and spirit, basically how we pamper ourselves. For sure, there's going to be overlap, especially with the self-healing chapter. That could have some overlay there. But I tend to look at self-care as how we take care of ourselves in the present and in a gentle way. And I also feel like self-care is a continuously evolving practice for ourselves, one that allows us to kind of restore balance to our being, I would say. So this chapter, you know, in many ways, I'm not going to be telling you anything new. It's really a bunch of reminders as to what we need to do for ourselves. And as we've mentioned in other chapters too, part of the process is forming an awareness. So if we're aware that we need to do something more, it is a reminder, but you know, maybe we'll do it a little more often, right? Because truly, you know, finding what makes us happy and what brings us joy, we need to do those things more often. And really finding those things that, you know, make our lives a little softer, a little healthier, a little kinder to ourselves, like it's all good. So as I've done with other chapters, I've broken this chapter down into 3 components or 3 subtitles. So we're going to touch on our senses, our health, and our spirit as they pertain to self-care here. First up is our senses. I'm just going to skip down through the 5 senses quickly. They're all things that you know, but again, it's the awareness, it's the being reminded sometimes, because catering to our senses, well, first of all, it doesn't need to be time consuming, it doesn't need to be expensive, right? We just need to do them. So let's start with touch. Now, I just said it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you have the means to indulge or overindulge in massage, hey, have at it. But for those of us who may not indulge in massage or other modalities as frequently, you know, there are other means to catering to our sense of touch. The softness of a blanket, a warm bath, you know, things that kind of wrap you up a little bit. And of course, human touch, right? You know, I laugh kind of on the massage thing, but not really. In my 20s, I lived out in Seattle. So I was 3,000 miles away from family. I was in a job that was pretty stressful, and high pace and stuff. And within our building, there was a spa. And I didn't go down for massage that often, but what I did do, once it was pointed out to me that I had an eyebrow issue, I went and had an eyebrow wax every 2 weeks. And is that fun? No, that's not fun. But I went in there. Literally, I went down to the, one of the main levels, and the music was on. They offered the lemon water or the tea. I sat there to decompress. They'd take me and rip those off. That part wasn't fun. But then she would rub my temples. That human touch. And she'd use essential oils. And then, as if I had just paid to have a massage, they would let me stay in there and just relax for a few minutes before I went back to it with my red eyes. But I looked forward to that every 2 weeks, and it was the simple human touch of having 5 minutes of somebody rubbing my temples. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Now, I tried to recreate that when I moved to Boston, and I tried a bunch of different establishments, and I finally found a person who rubbed my temples. It didn't have the ambiance of the other one, so it was all about the touch. Anyway, okay, let's move on to sight. For many, many, many of us, we are lights on, connected to devices for too much of the day, right? So what happens when we shut off the lights, we put down the devices, and we light a candle? Same room, but the mood changes, right? We probably breathe a little, we relax a little. We need to do that more. It's important. We need to disconnect a little bit and allow ourselves the time, allow the space to have those moments. Of course, the great place for all senses, but for sight, is get out in nature. Go sit out, and you don't have to live in the country to look up at the sky and watch the clouds pass or watch the birds or whatever nature delivers to you, and it's going to help with the other senses too. But it's bringing that awareness as well, right? Don't go out there and sit and think about all the things you should be doing or the work that you should be doing in that moment or whatever it may be. Go out and be in the moment with it. I guess that's key for all the senses, is to be present, and we've discussed that before. All right, so sight, which brings us to sound. So same thing with nature, all those sounds, the sounds of the birds, or go to the ocean if you are fortunate enough to live close and listen to the ocean waves lapping the shore. If you don't have the opportunity to get out, maybe it's just a change of put some music on that isn't going to rile you up, that's going to be calming. As my world began changing, and I think I talked about this last week, perhaps, was the Hertz music. I didn't know why, and I found it on YouTube, and I didn't know which one that I was supposed to do, but I just kind of let my intuition guide me, I guess, and pick whatever Hertz makes sense or that speaks to you, and put that on in the background. It's going to help you in many more ways, right? So there's that. Okay, smell real quickly. Again, these are all things so these are just reminders. Smells can trigger memories that we didn't even realize we had deep down in our souls. It's amazing to me what smell can do. So think about what smells kind of soothe your soul. For me, it goes back to the ocean. I stepped out the door not too long ago, and it was foggy, so it was holding the smell, and I'm about 1.5 miles from the ocean, and it was like it was in my front yard, and just makes me so happy, and it calms me, and it makes me smile. So find what soothes your soul, right? And have that, even if it's a candle that you light, to make that happen. So smells, what other sense do we have? Taste is the last one. Again, we're talking self-care here. So yes, there's the healthy options, of course, but for me, the thing that melts me is a dark chocolate moist cake. Will buckle my knees. So what does it for you? Now, if I was looking at a healthier option, it's mint chai tea that one of my dear friends who's an herbalist prepares, and I hoard it as best I can because it's like gold to me. So find what does that for you and enjoy those moments. But the key is being present with them. Be present in those moments and allow yourself that space for self-care. Okay, so as with many things we've discussed, is the awareness, is giving the time and the space. being present with them, and just remembering to slow down for those moments and do that. It makes such a big difference in our overall state of being. People probably like being around you a little bit more too. Okay, on to our health real quickly. Our physical health is probably the most obvious place for self-care for many of us, because it feels like a more tangible item for us of this mindset. It can be exercise, it can be services to maintain our well-being, it can be what we put on our body, it can be what we put into our body. So there's many ways around that, but knowing that we need to take care of this vessel of ours is important. So let's start with exercise real quickly. We all know exercise is important, and I'm not going to throw judgment because I fall off the wagon all the time. So what we need to do is find what works best for us. What do we like the most, and what can we do consistently? I know for me, I have my little checklist. I actually have it in a notebook here someplace. I should have brought it over. And exercise is along with every other thing that I check off each day, because that holds myself accountable, and I know I feel better, I operate better if I can work out in some way, shape, or form. So if I can check off a list on a given day, that's great. And I also found, whether this helps anybody or not, is that if I just get 3 workouts in today, this week, that's all you need to do, 3 workouts. I'm more consistent over time. How's that? So that's what works for me. But each of us has to find what mind game we need to play with ourselves, but make sure it's something you enjoy, because then you're going to stay more consistent with it. And ultimately, listen to yourself, because what works for Joe may not work for you, kind of thing. Another essential thing for our vessel and our health is sleep, right? We're not going to win an award for sleeping the least amount, so get over that. Get some sleep. And I know for people with young kids, it's not always easy. I don't think I averaged above 6 hours for many years, but now I try to get sleep, and I find the more I exercise, the more I get outside, the better I sleep, the more soundly I sleep. So do what you can there. So I'm going to stop there. The book gets into more things around what you put in your body and what you put on your body. And I get up on a bit of a soapbox on the benefits of chiropractic care, but I will save you from that for right now, so that we can move on as I'm watching the time. Just keep stepping forward with what you're doing. Have awareness, build your practice. Know it's important. Don't have any guilt around it. We all need to take care of ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else is going to. So take care of that physical vessel. Our health is a critical part of this journey. And, we don't realize it till our health starts going a little bit, at how important it is. So take care of it now. Okay, last section real quickly is our spirit. And catering to our spirit is a very important part of self-care. This world that we're in is in need, as many of us as possible, to be emitting love, kindness, gratitude, compassion out into the world. But we also need to bring that inward too, and sometimes we forget that. Having self-love, releasing judgment of ourselves are also so important. Because sometimes we can be our own worst critics. We second guess ourselves. So we need to all work on that a little bit, probably. When we release the judgment of self and truly appreciate who we are, our minds, our efforts, our hearts, our bodies, then we can begin to walk this life with more ease. And then once we have that self-love, then we can we can do it beforehand, but we do it in a different way. Once we love ourselves, we can emit it out into the world much more freely. And when we put that energy out into the world, people around us rise up. So it's important. Simple acts of kindness, having gratitude, and allowing that positive energy to be emitted out into the world. I guess, to kind of wrap it up, self-care is really an essential part of this whole transformation. It allows us to kind of recreate the framework of who we are. And it also allows us to restore our essence, restore our being. So this is just a big reminder. It's a big reminder to have awareness, to allow yourself that time and space, and not even treat yourself to that, just pamper yourself a bit, okay? All right, so that's a wrap. Next Thursday's video, we are going to discuss our tribe. And here's a little update on the physical book. We have sign off on the book cover, which is tremendous. I just received the final one yesterday, and then I just received as well a couple options for the interior design. So it actually looks like a book, which is amazing. And so I need to, when I end here, I'm going to be working on that. Finish proofreading that I'm doing right now, but there'll be one more layer of proofreading once I get kind of the PDF of once the interior is done. So I'm thinking that we're sticking to the schedule. I'm thinking this thing is going to be out here in the next, hopefully 6 weeks. So I will keep you posted there. And as always, just a reminder, I send out my emails every Monday morning. It's the only one I send out. If you want to join that and receive an email that kind of delivers a inspirational message to take on your week each Monday morning, first thing, usually around 8 a.m. Feel free to sign up. The website is tinalmoody.com, and you can subscribe there. And again, the only email. And I think that's it. I'm looking through my list. I think that's it. So much love and gratitude for you for joining me today. I so appreciate it. I hope you'll join me here next Thursday as we discuss our tribe. And in the meantime, you have a great day and enjoy your weekend. Take care.